Hey, thanks for tuning in to the Sisters Talk podcast. And today we have a very special guest with us today. Different. Can you please let them know who you are, where you're from, and tell them why you're on the show
Of
today?
course
Thank
they
you for coming on.
Of course, of course. Of course. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Happy to be here. And shout out to everybody listening and watching to the Sister Talk podcast. Yes, my name is Different, spelled Diferent. And happy to be here, rock out with your girl and do some sister talk and share my story with you guys. I'm just here to share my testimony in hopes of inspiring and motivating others that may be going through trials and tribulations in their life and just showing, what can happen for you, when you take control of your life and get your mental health in check and start going after your dreams and goals and what you're truly meant for in this lifetime. So that's just what I'm here to do. So let's get it.
Absolutely. I appreciate that too because that's a profound introduction. That's what we all need to be doing. And you do have quite the story. You've traveled, you've had a real journey in front of you. And I really want you to, if you can, give us a little bit of your backstory and tell us, where you grew up and some of the challenges that you faced reaching success.
Okay. Well, first off, I'm long-winded, so I just want to let you guys know that right up front. So if you ask me a question to share my story, I'm going to share with you, but it may take time. Um, but just to give you guys a little bit of background about who I am as of today, I'm an author. I'm a motivational speaker, CEO of my own small business, Third Eye Entertainment LLC, a business that tries to bring motivation to, social awareness to society through our products and services in which we educate, inspire, and entertain all at once. I also do motivational speaking as well as a travel influencer and content creator. And I'm 32 years old. I'm from Houston, Texas. I like doing adventurous things, of course, traveling the world, reading books, doing ATV bike riding, zip lining, you name it. Giving you guys a little bit of background about who I am and where I come from. I had a pretty good childhood up until the time I was around 11, and me and my family, we ended up on hard times. And I ended up on, homeless for around 3 years, living from pillow to post, and to where we would live into shelters, cars, bus stops, strangers' house, sleeping at parks, even at one point, sleeping at a crack house. And it was like this for 3 years up until the time I was 14. And a family member that I was staying with secretly placed me in foster care. And none of my other family members knew where I was for about 6 months. And during that time, I found out from another foster kid that if you stayed in, then the state of Texas, if you age out, by the time you were 18, they would pay for your tuition to college. And so right there, a light bulb went out in my head, and I just had to, use my street smarts to elevate my book smarts and just make that decision to stay in the system rather than going back into that environment that was, no good for me and I felt wasn't going to get me anywhere. I seen that this was my meal ticket into a better life. And so I chose the lesser of the evil, if you will. Spending 4 years in foster care was no walk in the park. Uh, Basically, you don't have a name, you become a case number, and being shuffled from 5 foster homes, 2 shelters, dealing with different personalities and day in and day out. That turns you into somebody who you never imagined you could be. And it's by the grace of God, that I came through it all. I ended up graduating from high school and going to Sam Houston State University, and that was just so many doors and opportunities opened up for me in itself. First opportunity I got was to travel abroad, which is where my travel bug was planted. I got to study abroad at Kim Young University, South Korea, and with there, I spent 4 months over there, and then just got the opportunity to travel to 8 other countries, including Japan, China, and all over Europe. And so that's where my travel bug was planted. And then I also got the opportunity to start my own student organization titled Pay It Forward. And one of the branches would be to go out and speak into different high schools on the importance of education and then just doing the right thing in life and making right choices. And it's there where my motivation bug was planted. I would share my story and my testimony And towards the end, kids would come up to me and would be like, well, I'm going through the same thing, but I didn't know the state of Texas would pay for your tuition to college, and I'm gonna go. And so right there, that's where I knew I had, a purpose in life to share my story to help, inspire and encourage others. And I also ended up graduating with my bachelor's in international business. I got two minors in economics and business communication. A few years later, I ended up getting my master's degree in entrepreneurship. I'm also a Texas real estate agent and an insurance agent as well. But, having all those notches and accomplishments under my belt, it really didn't thing, Danielle, if I wasn't, still right within. I was still dealing with issues from my childhood that had carried on from, throughout high school, college, all into my young adulthood to where, it would cause me to, uh, well, put it to you like this. Coming up in a chaotic environment for me for 3 years, and anybody who has been through that situation have come up in an abnormal environment, if you will, to them, it would seem normal. And so when I got placed out of or taken out of that environment and placed in foster care, I was actually placed in good foster homes or nice foster families who had nice homes and were well educated and they were black just like me, had nice cars and were well off. And that just right there it showed me that that's what I wanted in life. But also at the same time it was completely new to me and it felt like it was too good to be true. And so I had that notion in my head that nothing lasts forever. And so I might as well be the captain of my own ship and decide when to sink the ship. And so that's what I would do with self-sabotage and push them away and become just a very off-putting person. And it was like that for me throughout high school into college and again through my adulthood into where it started to affect my careers and opportunities that I had coming my way. I had a lot of opportunities coming my way and I squandered it because I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know how to believe in myself and think I was worthy of it. There was one opportunity that I had that I dwelled on for the longest. I had a meeting with a well-connected person and I let those, negative thoughts in the back of my head get to me, telling me I'm not good enough, just taking pity on you because you're a foster kid. And so I purposely showed up late to that meeting and it left a sour taste in that person's mouth. And, for the longest, for years on afterwards, I would dwell on it and just regret, what I did. And among other things that I did uh, that messed up things I had going for me. But at the end of it, I, had to look myself in that mirror and face the ugly truth and just say to myself, whatever I went through as a child, whatever, what may have not been my fault, it was out of my control. But as an adult, it's on me to fix. And so right then and there, facing going towards my 30, I had to make that decision and dismiss that notion that black people don't do therapy. And this black girl right here went and did some therapy. And in doing so, I'm glad I did because, getting my mental health in check or maintaining it, it led to me writing a book and starting a business and, helping others. And so that's where I am with it today. And so I feel like I'm talking too much. So jump in and ask me some
Oh
questions.
no, you're definitely not talking too much. I mean, I'm letting you talk because you are telling your testimony and it's profound. Like you just said earlier that you had one of the family members like basically kidnapped you and put you into foster care. Can we talk a little bit about that? Because we don't want to bulldoze over something like that's really bizarre and that's life changing for you. How have you managed life through that?
Well, it wasn't really kidnapping. I mean, they're the failure ties I had to them, and then also I must say, things that happened to me in my past, I don't dwell on it. I don't hold grudges. I forgave and move on, as well as I respect my family's privacy, and so I never drop names or say who did what. And so with that, I like to keep it unless until I write my book and just share all details. I don't get too in depth of what happened or who did what, but I was staying with the family member at the time, and they wasn't willing to, take care of me like that stated that they would. And instead of, sending me out to another family member, they decided to be spiteful and be mean-hearted and took me to CPS and basically just left me there. And they're like, okay, well, we got to take you in.
Got it. Okay, that brings a lot more clarity to it because I was a little confused there. Now I was under the wrong perception. So that makes a lot more sense. And I can understand, due to
Well, okay, now
privacy.
I'm playing that now.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
ma'am.
And then
And,
so, go
and
ahead, go ahead. hmm
well,
Oh
I
no,
would
I
say
was
you
just gonna
said
say I
somebody
can imagine
educated, and I
that.
said, well, hold on now. Mind you, I'm from Fifth Ward in Houston, Texas, and being an 11-year-old girl and seeing things that you should not see at that age, it made me into who I am, which was a tough chick, an alpha female, one that's not to be played with, or will not let nobody take her, and try to face up. If there's anybody that came up on me and would try to kidnap me, trust and believe they're gonna have to put in some work with this one. But
They're gonna
no,
give
it
you
wasn't
back.
that.
They're gonna give
It,
you
thank
back.
God.
No,
Thank
I
God it wasn't,
understand.
because it has been. I've heard crazy stories of being in the system in foster care and hearing other kids' stories and why they were in there. That also is what kept me humble and what got me through it. Because one thing about it is somebody out there who always has it 10 times worse. So although I went through some tough and crappy things in my life, God has brought me through it, and I'm grateful for it. And I'm grateful that I have not been through worse than like how others are going through. And so that's what keeps me humble and keeps me out of the blue and keeps me moving forward in life and not stuck on the past. And so what I went through it was only preparation to prepare me for what I'm about to receive in my lifetime and what I have to do in this life. And so that's how I look at it. That's how and then don't get it twisted. For the longest, I dwelled on things that happened to me in the past, and it was hard for me to get over and move on. But once I realized and seen how much I was missing out on by looking back and looking, being stuck on the past, then I got it together and was like, oh, wait, and then once I got on board with that, everything, seems like it fell in line. Now, again, my life isn't perfect. I'm still a work in progress. Uh, for me, therapy, it wasn't a one stop fix. And so I want anybody out there that's listening and to watching and knowing that if you do decide and make that decision to full on commit to keeping and getting your mental health in check, please know that it's not a one stop shop. It's a full on commitment. Once you start, you cannot stop. That's just like if you decide to get your physical house in order and give up eating all the junk food and unhealthy foods and start eating healthy and working on exercising. Once you start, you can't stop, because if you do, you're going to be worse off. And so, for those that's thinking that going to therapy and talking to a therapist one time, sitting on their couch for 1 hour is going to fix everything in your life, guess what? It's not. And so, if you make that decision, please know that it's a decision you're going to have to stick with for the rest of your life. As long as you're living, you're going to go through trials and tribulations. And so, I also want to take this time to note for anybody out there that's listening and watching that may be going through any type of trial and tribulation, that may be struggling with any mental illness, stress, or anguish, whatever the case may be. I want you guys out there to know that it is okay to not be okay, but don't ever sit there and not be okay. Go get help, whatever that may mean to you. Be it talking with a therapist, a family member, a friend, picking up a hobby, getting on medication, cutting people off who mean you know well, mending broken bridges. Do whatever it is that you have to do to keep your mental health in check and keep you from going off the deep end. And need, or if you know anybody who may need these mental health resources, please feel free to share it with them. The crisis hotline number is 1-800-273-8255, or you can call or text 988, or you can text 741-741. And for those that would prefer to go online, you guys can check out mentalhealthishealth.us, or you can visit 988lifeline.org. Or for those that are outside of the US and that's watching your girl Sister Talk podcast, you guys can check out incounseling.com. And in counseling is spelled ENCOUNSELING.com. And remember, you guys, although I am giving you these mental health resources, you have to realize that it's on you to do your own homework and your own research and find what works best for you. Because at the end of the day, you're the captain of your own ship and you decide where to navigate the waters, not anybody else. And lastly, when it comes to mental health, I want you guys to remember, again, whatever trial and tribulation that you may be going through at this time of your life, you will get through this, and this too shall pass. And so therefore, going off the deep end is not an option, so it's not worth it. So therefore, don't do it. Um, I always like to share that little portion wherever I go
No,
because
I
I know some
appreciate
people
that.
are listening that may need it, and trust me, I've definitely called those numbers more than once. I'm battling and going through my battlefield of mine when it comes to mental health. In 2021, I lost 5 people in my family back to back to back, and with my mother being the last person, she died in my arms the day after Christmas, and her birthday just passed on October 1st. And so I had to do something to keep myself busy and active and make sure, I didn't mope around or go off the deep end. So it's things like that, we have to set yourself up and know what is and what doesn't work for you when it comes to your mental health. For me, again, I'm not perfect. I'm a work in progress, even though I'm sitting here sharing my story with you guys and telling you try this and try that. Again, what may work for some may not work for others. So you can get out there and do your own homework and research and find what works best for you. The point of it all is to understand and know that it's okay to not be okay, but don't sit there and not be okay when it comes to your mental health. I often tell people, again, whatever you went through as a child, even as a young adult, what you're going through right now, it may or may not be your fault. It may or may not been out of your control, but if it's keeping you up at night and causing you to lose sleep and you can't move on in life and it's holding you back, then again, you have to remember it's a problem that's on you to fix, whether if you caused it or not, because it's holding you back from what you're supposed to do in life. And so even if you don't feel the need of talking with a therapist isn't going to work, again, find what works best for you. I heard one person was telling me, well, I can't afford to talk with a therapist, so I'm not going to pay a person $100 just to come and sit on the couch and talk for a certain amount of time and my problem isn't fixed. Okay, fine, that's understandable. Talking with a therapist is expensive, and so, but again, you can't don't let finances be the reason why you don't keep your mental health in check, or you don't at least try to keep your mental health in check. And so again, that's why you have to get online, find your research, excuse me, and find what works best for you. There are a lot of free resources out there for people that need it. And again, you just have to find what works best for you. I know for me, when I was talking with my therapist, it helped me, work through some things, and he encouraged me to get back into something that I love, which was journaling and writing and doing so. Being stuck in the house for the pandemic, having nowhere to go, being a person that loves to travel all over the world and can't. Um, that's what I started doing. And then May 25th, 2020 happens, the day that George Floyd dies. And right there, he's from he's from Third Ward, not from Fifth Ward in Houston, Texas. And so when they were doing his protests and marching in his honor, I wanted to be a part of it. However, when it came down to it, I feel like I wanted my voice to be heard more than just in that moment of time and more long after I'm gone. So talking with God and being in tune and asking Him for the spirit of discernment and what to do and what can I do to, get people's attention and do something that's gonna, I don't want to say rock the cradle, if you will, but what I've noticed about the society today is that, people love controversy. They flock to controversy before they'll flock to something that's, real and serious and needs to be, addressed. And so the way that I, ended up setting up my book, What If a Controversial Paradigm Shift, is in a controversial manner, that a way that'll get your attention. And again, my book was written to encourage and inform thought-provoking conversations about injustice and systemic racism in America. And I've done this through provocative and graphic illustrations. And so again, this book, it does come with a parental advisory warning, if you will. Uh, this is intended for a mature audience. It has sensitive content. And so those out there that can't take the heat, come on to the kitchen. Just get your little fire blanket. You'll be all right. That's the point of it all. It's just to have these conversations that need to be had that are often swept under the rug and turned a blind eye to. And the way that I've said, what if a controversial paradigm shift up is in four main paradigm or categories of paradigms. And then we have historical, political, precedent, and hypothetical. And each of these paradigms, I'm speaking in different and true and actual events that have occurred in America within the African American community, and just simply and basically asking the question, what if? Is basically a race role reversal. and asking that question, what if this was your people? And what if this was still happening to your people? What then? And so, for instance, if you go to the first chapter, one of the first pages that I ask, or the questions that I ask is, what if in 1619 Africans started dealing in illegal slave trading, whereas they kidnapped millions of English men, women, and children and brought them on slave ships to America? And then you'll see that graphic illustration that have the white slaves in chains and the black slave traders, whipping them. And you'll have white slaves jumping from ships as we did. And again, this book isn't to incite any type of racial war. It's not to point fingers on and blame game, or you did that to us. It's simply, a what if book to make you think about things that happen in today's time that happened in the past, but yet still happening. What if it still happened to your people? And so I wrote that book, and I started in June 2020. I finished the manuscript in December 2020, and then I asked my lawyer to read it. She gave it high praises and her advice on it. Then she asked me that question that rocked my world. She said, "Different, what's the name of your business?" And I'm like, "Huh? What? Huh?" I kept telling her my name of book, what if? And she's like, "No, I don't think you understand." I say, when you have a product and you sell it to the public, you have to have a name of LLC. And so right then and there, I had to hit the ground running, trying to figure out how to start my own LLC. And one thing about life, Danielle, teaches, no matter how many degrees you have on your belt, experience you got, been all over the world, you still don't know crap, or there's still things out there that you can learn. And so I don't care if I have a PhD, or if I have 100 degrees under my belt, it's still things out there that I need to learn in life. And so I'm never too old or too young to learn anything. And so with that, again, asking God for the spirit of discernment and what this name can be for my business. This is what I came up with. We have little Third Eye Entertainment LLC, again, a business that strives to bring social awareness to society through our products and services, in which we educate, inspire, and entertain all at once. So again, when it comes to social awareness and talking about topics such as, again, one of the topics we talk about is inequality, injustice. We also talk about social issues within the month, such as, breast cancer awareness would be an issue we talk about in the month of October. Next month, we will talk about prostate cancer awareness, and we talk about domestic violence issues, LGBTQ, any issue or social awareness issue topic that needs to be brought to light. We talk about it there in my YouTube channel. As well as, we're not just about talking about dark clouds. We also, again, try to bring you some entertainment and education. So I do a lot of motivational vlogs, as well as I drop a lot of pop culture reviews, as well as, and most importantly, my travel vlogs, being traveled to just about 50 countries before the pandemic started. I was going all over the world, and so now what I'm doing is putting my videos together and posting them on my YouTube channel. I think I got about 25 travel vlogs posted thus far. And so just been working on promoting that and driving all the traffic to my YouTube channel, Different World, YT, come and learn. You guys be sure to hit that subscribe button, by the way. And so that's pretty much it, where it's going for me, and what, most importantly, getting my mental health in check led me doing. And so the point of it all, and me being on the show, Danielle, and what I want everybody to take away from it, from my story, is how, and I'm not trying to get religious or political. I'm not a religious person, but I do believe in the higher power. And so with that being said, I want those out there that, again, that may be going through any trial and tribulation, or even those that are not, I want them to see my life as an example of what can happen, or what will happen for you if you allow God to take you from the back and place you up front. And again, for a person that's not perfect, and I have a lot of flaws and I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, but if you look at my life overall in its totality, you will see that I live a blessed life, man. And what I've been through in my past is nothing compared to what's coming for me in my future, man. So much better that's coming for me, because look how when you look at your life and you get it together in the sense of reprogramming your mind. Again, I don't want to get too, I'm not trying to seem like I'm I'm too preachy or anything. So that's why I'm trying to tread lightly on what I say. But again, it really started for me when it came to reprogramming my mind and just removing all that doubt and fear. That's how I came up with my motto: manifest, plan, prepare. And what I mean by that is, for those who believe that they're destined for greatness in life, have to manifest, plan, and prepare for it, and it will surely come to them. And so the manifest part comes to where you're removing all the doubt, all the fear, all the naysayers, uh, removing anything that's negative out of your mind and replacing it with positive affirmation, seeing it before you receive it, speaking it into existence. And next, you plan for it, write it out on paper, write up a backup plan, have an exit plan. You can't plan for the unknown, but you can expect that it's coming. And again, whenever it comes to you, just know that whatever trial and tribulation that you face with, this too shall pass and you will get through it because you're a boss. And so when that happens, uh, just know that it's okay. You'll get through it and it'll make you a better person. So allow whatever trial and tribulation happens to mold you into a better person. The last part would be the preparation side of it. When I say prepare, that means from the inside out. Getting your mental house in order, your physical house in order, your financial house in order, mending broken bridges, cutting people off who mean you know well. Again, so therefore, whatever you're manifesting and planning for, whenever it comes to you, you can be prepared for it. You will know how to handle it. You won't feel like you're unworthy of it, how I felt in the past. And so one thing about it, when I noticed, when I worked for the things that I wanted and it came to me, I felt much more like I've earned it, and nobody can take it away from me because I've worked for it. It was what I put out, and it came back to me. And so that's how I view life now. When opportunities come my way, or blessings come my way, I don't second guess it. I don't feel like I'm unworthy. I don't let those negative thoughts get to me and try to talk me out of it like how I would have in my 20s. And so that's just what, getting your heart and your mind together and getting it right. And once they're in tune, you can achieve, the impossible. And so that's why I say manifest, plan, and prepare for whatever it is in life that you want. And then it will surely come to you guys. Different story, right?
Absolutely. I love it. I mean, you definitely gave a lot of positive information, a lot of positive advice about
Mm-hmm.
how to ground yourself. It's more about the grounding, and finding your place within not only society, but within yourself. And so I really love that. And I see a lot of growth in you. And that's my first time seeing you and talking to you today. We've talked behind the scenes before, but I mean, just having you on the show is a different experience. And I really appreciate you for being a guest today because you were vulnerable at some points of this conversation. And then you were very influential, in others. And it comes from a place of experience, I can tell. So I really
Mm-hmm.
appreciate having you on today. You tell it straight. I love a straight shooter.
Yeah, I try to be. But I also would like to say this. If anybody's wondering, well, what can I take away from giving my mental health a check or talking with somebody about my problems? Here's what I've learned, or what the steps that came in for me. When I started getting my mental health a check, I won't say going to therapy because it took more than just going to therapy to start realizing this about myself and others. When I started to get my mental health in check, what I realized is I became more self-aware. And when you become self-aware, you become your self-aware with your surroundings and the things around you, what you do and what others do. After you become self-aware, you start to find your voice. And when you find your voice, you're able to speak out and speak up on things that have bothered you. And when you find your voice, you're able to set boundaries. And when we have boundaries in place with our friends and families and people around us in general, uh, I've realized you're able to live a much peaceful life. You're able to protect your peace when you have boundaries. And so that's what can happen for you as well when you get your mental health in check or get yourself together or reprogram your mind, if you will. And so think about it like that, you guys. For anybody that's two-stepping or toe-tapping around it, as well as if you know that you have a problem and you don't want to get up and do something about it and fix it, then it is your fault. You say you love a straight shooter, so I'm gonna keep it real with you as well. As there's a lot of people out there that have problems that they know they need to fix, but don't want to get up and do nothing about it except for sit there and wallow in their mess. then it is on them. If you don't want to be a part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. Either or, there is somewhere in between. And so, with that, I want to take this time to thank you, Danielle, for having me on your show. I just want to remind you that you are a queen. You have a crown on your head, and you're walking it oh so well. Again, thank you for everybody out there listening and watching. Be sure to check out my website, differenceworld.net, and get my book, What If? A Controversial Paradigm Shift, available now, as well as you can check out all my other social media handles, including my Instagram, my TikTok. I'm on TikTok as well, trying to learn that. And of course, my YouTube channel, where I would definitely love for you guys to go and subscribe, as well as, again, don't forget, wherever it is in life that you guys are feeling that you're destined for, you have to manifest, plan, and prepare for it, and then it will surely come to you guys. Difference World, come and learn. As well as rest in peace to my mom over in Philver, Aunt Shinneberg.
Most definitely. I think your audio went out on us for just a moment, but definitely we got the RIP to your mom and definitely got a lot of gems out of this conversation. It takes a strong person like yourself to come onto a show and open up like you did today. And again, I just want to thank you and thank you for reminding me of my crown. My crown sometimes sits to the side like T.I., but it's still there because we all have a lot going on. We all got a lot going on. So I have to readjust it
It's okay.
sometimes. Yes, I have to readjust it
It's just like
sometimes.
that.
So
Never ever forget. You got a
I'm
crown
telling
and there's
you.
royalty in your blood. So never ever forget that.
Absolutely. But I want to thank you again, guys. Make sure you go out and follow this queen. Okay. She has YouTube channels, TikTok channels. I'm gonna put all the websites here. I think that's the same one. Go to her website. You should be able to find everything you need there as well. However, she also has an Instagram. Make sure you go follow her on IG. Give this woman support. Don't forget about the YouTube. Let me run it back because she has some very
Definitely,
powerful
definitely.
podcast shows out there with important topics that need to be discussed, and she does not hold back, her or her guests. And that's what we need, more of that in the community, more of that in society in general. And I just definitely want to have you back on the show during Black History Month, because you'll be the perfect person to have these important conversations with going into 2024. Most definitely. We'll see if we can
Thank you
get
so
Miss
much.
Jane Elliott back on the show as well, and maybe you can chop it up with her also. But before we go, I just want to know, do you have any other final words to the audience today?
Um, you either from they come up like Cardi B or they come back like Robert D. There is no more in between, baby.
Well, there is one thing I want to tell my audience before we wrap up today. I want you guys to go check out my YouTube channel, of course, for the people who haven't yet, because a lot of people do support this show. They share it on Facebook all the time, but share with your family and friends. Go check out some of the videos that we've done with some very, very, very important and amazing people that have done a lot of work for the community. Also, don't forget to go check out my short film. It's streaming across the bottom here. Check out Nella. It is on my website, sistastalk.org/Nella. Very good movie. It's a short film, but it's hitting all the points of life as an African American female at different stages and different ages of life. So you definitely want to check that out. And different, you really are just different. The topic just speaks for you. So I want to thank you one more time for coming on to the show today. And I do hope that you continue doing great things and you link up with all the people, your team and crew that you need to link up with to do the amazing things in Houston and beyond. I really appreciate this companionship that we developed here on the show today. Now, for the rest of you guys that came on late or will come on, make sure you like, comment, and share this show. We want to make sure this promulgates throughout the universe, throughout the internet. And make sure you go check out my girl's TikTok. Now, I don't know if I had the right link here or not, but I'm going to go back to it one more time. Boom. Is TikTok on there? No, that's YouTube. Let me see if I can grab it for everybody so I have it. Okay, yeah, that was a TikTok. Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna wrap this show up. Guys, I see y'all once a month now because I'm busy. I'm busy with Medicare right now. Okay, so ask me about Medicare. Tell your grandma, your grandpa, your great uncles and great aunties to hook. Hey, hit me up. so I can educate them on their Medicare options and what their current plans are and get them in an appropriate plan. These plans are giving out a lot of great benefits, more benefits than what we can get at our age. Trust me, I wish I could qualify. But just hit me up if you have questions about it. Just DM me or hit me up at my number. Y'all know my number because I always stream it. Or just, like I said, jump into my inbox. But as always, I want to thank you guys for tuning into the Sisters Talk podcast. Until we meet again in November, you guys stay safe and have a good night.